I am looking at the sailing image, and you can see by looking at this, let me zoom in a little bit, that they have applied a blue filter to the entire thing. That is why the white bottom looks blue. That's why their shirts, their skin, everything has kind of a bluish tint or haze over it. And that looks fine on the water, but not so good on the boat and the people. So what we're going to do is add some adjustment layers. And I'm going to duplicate my background. I'm just going to press Control and J. And I'm going to call it background copy. And to start with, we're going to adjust everything. And you can actually use levels and curves to adjust color. So we're going to go into adjustments and we'll start with levels. And right now the preset says default, which is fine. It's displaying red, green, and blue, and we are going to change it to blue. And then to remove the blue from the midtones, we're going to point at the slider in the middle, and we're going to drag it a little bit to the right. And you can see as we do that, the men's legs actually start looking tan, which should be the color of their legs. Okay, now when we move it to the right, everything was adjusted. Okay, so even the blue water, the sky, everything. Okay, so that was levels. We're going to turn that off. We're going to do it again, but this time with curves. And we're going to switch to blue. And to get kind of the mid-tone shadow area, I'm going to kind of go a third of the way up from the bottom. We're just going to drag it down a little bit. Okay, we'll turn that off. Now, unfortunately, the way that we've been doing it, everything is adjusted. And what we'd really like is just to remove the blue that's on the bottom of the boat here and on the men. So in order to do that, we have to select an area before we give the adjustment command. So I'm going to select background copy, and I'm going to use my quick selection tool, which normally works pretty well. I've got the brush head fairly small. Gives me a little bit more control. And you can see I'm just kind of choosing the bottom of the boat. And I'll probably go into quick mask here. See, to perfect this a little bit. And remember, if you paint in black, it removes from the selection. And if you paint in white, it adds to the selection. Let's switch over to white. I'll switch back to black. Whoops. Let's switch over to white because I missed this guy's hat. Now, sometimes it is easier to add and remove if you're a little bit more zoomed in, even if it looks a little pixely. You can actually see things quite a bit better. And once you've made your selections, you're going to do a Q to get out. And what we're going to do is we're going to give the curves command, and it will apply the mask. Now, we need to have selected the part of the document that we want to change. And right now, we just have the men in the boat selected. And that actually is correct. So we're going to go ahead, go into curves, change to blue. And we're going to basically make that same adjustment that we did before. Whoops. That was supposed to change to blue. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and go back. And then you can see the area that it was applied to is displayed in white. So let's turn that off. Turn it back on. Okay. And you can see that the color change was applied. So let's save this. Now we're going to open up the big cat again. Oops. Here. Now let me turn off these and select the background. And we're going to be doing an adjustment using levels. Now, you'll notice that we have a little space between the black marker and where our curve starts. So we can actually move this to the start of the curve. And for white, we can do the same thing. And you will notice if you do that, that your colors actually start to kind of pop. And that is the only adjustment that we're going to make. Now we are going to take a look at the histogram. I forgot to display it here. And ideally, most of your tones are going to kind of be in the center, okay, of that bell-shaped curve. And that indicates midtones. Now let's do another little command here. We're going to do the vibrance command. And we're going to pop this up to about 50. Increase this to about 5. And when we look, you're going to see 2 adjustments now in the layers instead of just 1, because we did levels and we did vibrance. And we're going to do one more thing. I'm going to zoom in for this. We are going to select the cat's eye. Oops. And make sure you choose the background layer before you try to do this. And it still might not like it. And let's try with this tool. All right, I'm going to quick mask it because I had to select way more than I wanted. I really just want his eyeball here. All right, now with his eye selected, what I'm going to do is go into levels. I'm going to change my channel to green. I'm going to take my midpoint slider, move it towards the left to kind of make the green show more in the cat's eyes. When we get back, you can see a little white dot in the middle of the masking thumbnail, indicating that we changed just the area in that little white dot, which is his eye. Okay, and at this point, you're going to save your changes.